in the last two lectures, we have learned about what is the function of connecting rod. Then these are basically a few points as to describe the manufacturing process of the connecting rod. And as you can see, this is basically manufactured by draw forging process. The connecting rod which we use is basically called as two-piece connecting rod. Okay, you have one small end. Here you are going to connect piston, and this is the big end, which is basically a split type of big end. And here we basically this end is basically connected to the crank pin. This is the material. Normally we use steel and plain carbon steel and alloy steel. So here you can go through various types of steel. For example, plain carbon steel 40 Ca, then aluminum steel, aluminum alloy steel. Okay. Then I discuss about this procedure, like the design of the whole connecting rod, which will basically comprise of designing of cross section of connecting rod, designing of a small end, big end, then designing of bolts, and lastly we will see the whipping stress, as to what is meant by whipping stress. Okay. Then after going through this entire discussion as to how the bending takes place when the motion of the connecting rod is in the plane, when the upward movement is in the plane of motion, and when the plane is in the lateral direction. Okay, so these two considerations very important, and I think we discussed this at length when Vedant asked us like as to how this will look like. So we saw that when the plane when the motion of the connecting rod is in the plane of rotation, then the bending will be like this, whereas in the lateral direction the bending will be, okay, in the y direction the bending will be like this. So we determine an equation as to 4Iyy is equal to Ixx. Okay, and then we had this polling. Yes, then it was force analysis diagram. In this discussion we saw that because the maximum gas force is induced just after TDC, almost 3 to 4 degree after TDC. That is why we prove that the force induced in the connecting rod PC is almost equal to the maximum gas pressure. So that is why we define PC as pi by 4 DC square times okay. So we basically determine that because of this justification that PC is P by cos phi, but phi is very small. So for a small angle, we take almost 1. That is why we prove that the force which is induced in the connecting rod is almost similar than what it is produced by the maximum gas force. So that is why PC is equal to pi by 4 d square into P max. Correct. Then Rankine's formula is used to determine the dimensions of connecting rod, and basically we are going to have this procedure. First of all, we will calculate the force acting on the connecting rod by the formula PC is equal to pi by 4 d square into P max, where P max is maximum gas pressure. Then we will determine the critical load, okay, to be used by the Rankine's formula as P critical is equal to PC times factor of safety. And because this is a very critical component and is subjected to very severe operation, okay, that is why we select very high factor of safety in the range of 5 to 6. Then we use Rankine's formula. Okay, P critical is equal to sigma C times A. over 1 plus alpha times L by kx square. Okay, where sigma c is the yield stress and A is the area of the connecting rod, area of cross section of the connecting rod. Alpha is the end fixity constant, which is 1/7500, and kx is the radius of gyration about x direction. Then whatever dimensions we find from this formula, it will be in terms of t. Then what we do after finding the thickness from the above formula, we will be finding the height as pi t, and we will be finding b as equal to 4t. Okay, and then we will find out the dimensions of cross section of connecting rod at the small end, which varies as 75% to 90% of the original dimension, and at the big end the dimension is 110% to 125%. Right?
Yes, sir.
So this was the question. है ना Vedant?
Yes, sir. यही था.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's solve this example now. The question says that this question will be asked. Remember, this will be asked for around 8 to 10 marks. So you have to draw the diagram, first of all, line diagram. Okay, so the diagram may include a connecting rod with I section. Okay, so if you can draw this diagram, for cross section, and also draw a connecting rod with small end and big end. Okay, I'm giving you 5 minutes time. Hurry up. Okay, and also draw this figure. Also draw either this figure. See, always remember in design, it is always a good practice to draw the supporting line diagram. Hurry up. You can also draw this diagram if possible. Either this diagram. Sorry. Sorry. This question says that there is a cylinder bore of 100 millimeter. There is the length of the connecting rod is 350 millimeter. Maximum gas pressure is 4 megapascal, and the factor of safety is 6. And we need to just determine the dimensions. Mind you, dimensions means P. Okay, dimensions means B, H, H1 and H2. Okay, and finally what we can do after getting this dimension, we can show in the diagram. Okay, if possible. Okay. So starting with step number 1. First of all, find out the force acting on the connecting rod. Force let's say PC is the force acting on the connecting rod, which is given by pi by 4 d square times P max. So from this relation you are going to get pi by 4 100 times 4 megapascal. Okay, how much is this? everyone? See, this is the only time to practice, huh? Don't feel like we're wasting time and doing it sometime in future. So don't do that. You're
31.42
sorry,
kilonewton. 31.42 kilonewton.
31.42 31.42 kilonewton. Very good. So PC is now determined. After finding, what is the step number 2? Janil, Jen, what is the step number 2, beta?
Sir.
Determine the critical load. Okay, so let P critical is the critical load acting on connecting rod, which is given by PC into factor of safety. So you have 31.42 kilonewton multiplied by how much factor of safety should I consider? Somewhere between 5 to 6.
6 is given, sir.
Okay, let's say I'm selecting 6. So it is equal to 188.5 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Okay, now what is step number 3?
Calculation of T.
Calculation of T.
Okay. Determine thickness P. Therefore, by using Rankine's formula, you have P critical equals to sigma C times A divided by 1 plus alpha into L by K square. This is XX. Where we assume for I section A as 11T square, sigma C as 330 newtons per mm square for steel, and alpha as 1 upon 7500, whereas Kx is 1.78 times T. Okay, substitute all this value and carefully calculate the value of T. Everyone, please practice, huh?
Excuse me, sir.
Ji, who is this?
सर दानिश अंसारी. सर ये प्लीज एक बार और बताइए ना, ये के एक्स क्यों लेते हैं?
This is the least radius of gyration.
लेकिन सर जो के एक्स लेता है वो 4 टाइम्स रहता है ना के वाई वाई के। हेलो हेलो
Hello. Hello.
हेलो सर।
This is the, I told you, this is the least radius of gyration, because along x direction, you saw that it is 4 times IYY. Okay. Since you're designing for the critical load, then the strength, what you have considered, this should be higher. That okay. But as per the concept, this is normally taken as the least radius of gyration. Correct, na? So Kx is 4 times IYY, because the strength of the connecting rod about y axis is more strong. That is why you are substituting this value.
सर लेकिन मिनिमम वाला लेना चाहिए था ना फिर के एक्स।
No. That is, see, this is the least radius of gyration, but at the same time, you saw that along x direction, there is more bending. Like
Okay,
when the motion of the connecting rod is considered in the plane of motion, you are getting this as kxx. You're getting more deflection, because there the bending is more. Okay, so what we are doing, we have proved that the bending in y direction is 1/4 times of kxx. Okay, or in vice versa, the bending is more. That is why we are using this value.
ओके सर।
So what is T ka value?
7.5.
7.53.
7.52.
7.52 can be approximated to 8 millimeter. Okay, next. Now determine the dimensions of cross section. We know that for an I section, this is h phi t. This is the nominal width, d as 4t, and this is the uniform thickness, t. Therefore, let nominal width B is equal to 40, which is equal to 32 millimeter. Nominal height H is 5T, which is 40 millimeter. Thickness of web is T, it is 8 millimeter. Thickness of flanges when I'm saying flanges, I mean to say top and bottom flange equal to 8 millimeter. These were the nominal dimensions. Further, height at the small end is H1, which is taken as 0.85 H to 0.9 H. We take somewhere in this between this range. So we have 0.85 times 40 to 0.9 times 40. So this is coming out to be 34 to 36. You can take approximately 35 millimeter. Then height at the big end is H2, which is taken as 1.1 H to 1.25 H. So that is why it should be 1.1 times 40 to 1.25 times 40. And you get this as how much? कितना दे रेंज बताओ जरा भाई 44 to
44 to 50.
50. You can take approximately 46.
47.
Yes. Approximately you can take 45, 46 and so on. So is everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this question is important. Please go through it once. This is important question. Little bit variation here and there, and similar question may be asked in the final exam also, in the university exam. Rizwan Khan, understood?
Yes, sir.
Sanket Patil?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. You are practicing, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. आजमी किधर है भाई? आजमी दिखता नहीं है. Okay, further. So what we have done out of the complete design procedure for the whole connecting rod, we have seen the design procedure for the cross section. Now let's go ahead and understand the design procedure for the small end and the big end. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now see, this is the small end, okay, and this is the small end, and this is the hole, okay, and this is the bush, a brass bush, in which you are going to insert the piston pin, which is called as gudgeon pin. Here you are going to have piston pin, okay. And just now in the previous discussion we saw that the force which is acting on the connecting rod here, the force which acts here on the connecting rod is P, which is PC. And what happened, because of the oscillation, because of the oscillatory motion, because of oscillation, the movement of piston pin with respect to the bush or the small end of the connecting rod, or vice versa, there will be motion here, okay, between the bush and the pin. Why? Because bush is tightly fit into the small end, so there will be relative motion between the piston pin and the bush, okay. Because of that, we are bound to understand this design consideration as a bearing consideration. Bearing consideration. Okay. So the piston pin bearing, which is normally called as a bush, is made up of phosphor bronze, which is approximately 2 to 3 millimeter thickness, and the piston pin is inserted. Now, mind you, piston pin, we have seen that piston pin is basically a hollow piece, okay, in which the diameter of this bush, inner diameter of this bush, is equal to DO. And you remember DO and DI were the dimensions for the piston pin, correct? DO was the outer diameter and DI was the inner diameter, and you saw that it was 0.6 times DO, correct now? But I'm considering here, because I'm talking about pin, I'm not talking about the piston pin, I'm talking about this small end, okay, in the context of small end. That is why I'm using a different notation named as DP. Okay, so here I'm using bearing consideration. Bearing consideration means the force acting on the piston is equal to bearing pressure multiplied by projected area. So once again, I'm writing it in the form that this force is equal to bearing pressure multiplied by projected area. For this projected area, okay, you are having projected area in terms of DO as the diameter, or sorry, dp as the diameter and lp is the length. That is why when you project this on a vertical plane, you are going to get projected area as dp into lp. Okay, so I am saying projected area dp into lp multiplied by bearing pressure acting on the pin will be giving you the bearing pressure, this force. So from this dimension, from this equation rather, okay, if you know the bearing pressure, you can determine the diameter dp and length lp. Mind you, both are unknown, so there is a empirical relation. So that relation should be lp by dp should be equal to 1.5 to 2 times, because here you have considerable length of the piston, the considerable length of this small end of the connecting rod, okay, bearing against the pin. So here this is basically the length, okay, which is equal to, you remember we took it as 0.45 times of d in the previous discussion. We took it as 0.45 times of d, correct? But what we have to do, we need to determine in the form of lp. So if I have both of this unknown, I can assume bearing pressure and I can find out dp first, then lp. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
L1
Yes,
is
sir.
equal to LP, no?
L1 is equal to LP only. Only point is that here the new notations are used. This nomenclature are basically used to denote the factors in terms of piston pin rather than in terms of length of small end, etc. Okay. So that is the only difference in the nomenclature. Otherwise, the concept is same. So L1 is nothing but LP only. Done?
Yes, sir.
After that, see, this is the bearing bush. So we just saw the force acting on the connecting rod is equal to bearing pressure, that is PB, acting on the pin multiplied by diameter times length. This is going to give you dimensions. इसमें से ये दोनों भी unknown है. So what we can do, we can assume LP by DP as 1.5 to 2 times. Okay, and if bearing pressure is given, we can find out the DP and LP. That's it. Next, in the absence of data, if the data is missing, the bearing pressure can be assumed somewhere between 10 to 12 megapascal, whereas L by D ratio can be assumed as 1.5 to 2. Okay, everyone.
Yes, sir.
See, normally we give you all this data in the question itself, but in case if it is not given intentionally, then you have to assume these values. इसमें ये सब देखो, अभी आपको प्रैक्टिस करते करते समझ में आएगा कि these are certain values. जैसे कि अभी E का वैल्यू अगर नहीं दिया तो हम लोग अभी आजकल डायरेक्टली अज्यूम कर लेते हैं ना, 2 into स्टील के लिए 2.1 into 10 raised to 5. Okay, Poisson ratio we assume, as 0.25 to 0.3. So like this, you are basically made to practice in this way. Like you need to assume certain dimension in a standard empirical form. After understanding the dimensions for bearing failure for the pin, let's understand the bearing big end of the connecting rod. Now this end, since connected to the crankshaft, here you are going to have the big end connected to crank pin or crank, that is by the notations DC and LC are used. DC is the diameter of crank pin or inner diameter of the bush, which is mounted on the crank pin. LC is the length of the crank pin or length of the bush. Okay. Now let me make it clear. This LC is nothing but this dimension. This is LC, the length of crank pin, whereas this is DC, the diameter of crank pin. When in the translatory motion, then the crank rotates in the complete rotary motion, and because of this bearing surface, it freely rotates, okay, on the pin. So certainly there will be relative motion between the big end of the connecting rod and the crank pin. Everyone agree?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So certainly the failure criteria would be bearing criteria or bearing failure. So here also we use the force acting on the connecting rod. Mind you, it is the same force which is transmitted from piston to piston pin to whole shank of the connecting rod to the crank pin. Okay, so PC is equal to bearing pressure multiplied by bearing area. This bearing area is nothing but the projected area, DC into LC, multiplied by PBC. PBC is nothing but the allowable bearing pressure. Mind you, this time the diameter of the crank pin is larger than the diameter of piston pin. Although same force is acting, but it is being bear by the larger area. That is why if in case this value of the PBC is not given, it will be little smaller than what you have assumed for the crank pin. For piston pin. For piston pin, you have assumed somewhere between 10 to 12.5 megapascal. Okay, as a bearing pressure. Okay, for crank pin, you have to assume somewhere between 8 to 10 as a bearing pressure, because here even if the force PC is acting, but the area which is bearing the pressure is larger. That is why the bearing pressure has to be assumed that, okay, somewhere in the range of 8 to 10 megapascal. Done? So what I do, if I know the length of connecting rod LC, if the diameter is known as DC, then I use the bearing consideration, and I'm saying bearing pressure acting on the crank pin multiplied by projected area. Mind you, this time, this once again DC and LC are unknown, so the L by D ratio here is normally little taken in the range of 1.25 times 1 to 1.5 times. Okay, so this is the only difference. Understood?
Yes, sir.
जफर हाशमी किधर है? जफर हाशमी है कि नहीं? हार्दिक
Yes,
पोद्दार, हार्दिक पोद्दार, मोइन रजा, बिलाल कुरैशी, बिलाल कुरैशी, मोमिन बिलाल, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Bilal,
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
रिस्पॉन्स क्यों नहीं देते लड़के लोग यार? अब्दुल्ला शेख,
सर नेट चला गया था, अभी बाहर आया डाटा ऑन करके।
सॉरी,
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही थी, नेट चला गया था, अभी डाटा ऑन करके बाहर आया तो आपकी आवाज आई, वाईफाई गया था।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक
सॉरी
है,
सर।
चलो। आरिफ खान, आरिफ खान,
बिलाल मोमिन नेटवर्क इशू था सर।
ये है कि नहीं आरिफ खान? Okay, shall we go ahead?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So after designing cross section, considering buckling criteria, and considering bearing failure for small and big end, now let's find out the dimensions of the bolt. See, at the big end cap, you're going to use 2 bolts in order to connect the big end, okay, to the crank pin, right? And this big end is primarily subjected to inertia force. How? In what way? Because, see, ideally we consider that the piston moves between the two end condition, which is TDC and BDC. But actually what happens, even a few degrees before TDC, okay, the combustion takes place, and even if the piston, even before the piston is able to complete its stroke up to TDC, okay, the piston is forced to move down because of the combustion, correct? Similarly, when during the exhaust stroke, it is to move from BDC to TDC like this, okay, and if it is even before the piston is not reaching TDC, it is being pulled down by the design of the crankshaft, because the suction stroke is being, okay, carried out, or the power stroke is being carried out in the cylinder. So when the piston is trying to move up, it is getting downward motion, it is having, you know, getting pulled downward, or when it is going down, it is getting pulled up because of the corresponding piston pair. This basically causes the inertia force, okay, to be applied on the connecting rod, because of which what happened,
Sir, please again repeat.
sorry,
प्लीज रिपीट वो
हाँ,
अपने से बताया.
Okay. What I mean to say, ideally हमको मालूम है कि there are 4 strokes, and during this 4 stroke the piston is going to move between the two end position, which is TDC and BDC. But actually what happened? The combustion takes place few degree before TDC. Okay, so like around 8 to 10 degree before TDC, the combustion is going to take place. That means even before the piston is completing its stroke up to TDC, okay, the piston is forced to move down. Correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Similarly,
Gas pressure.
similarly, when in the exhaust stroke, when it is sweeping out all the gases, okay, and when it is to move from BDC to TDC completely, okay, so what happened? The piston pair, okay, you have, for example, piston pair in the form of 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have the piston 4, 1 and 4 and 2, 3. Correct. So what happened? Suppose here, here you have, let's say, suction stroke taking place. Then here there must be power stroke taking place. Correct, na? Okay, but at the same time, as soon as the power is completed here, there will be exhaust stroke. लेकिन corresponding according to firing order of 1, 3, 4, 2. Okay, अभी 4 में power होने के बाद अभी किस में होना है? 2 में. So what will happen? Okay, whatever exhaust is taking place here in the cylinder number 2, 2 will basically cause it to change the direction. Okay, because यहाँ पर कुछ और चलेगा, यहाँ पर power stroke होगा. So because of power, if it is going down, it has to move up. So this way, the piston is not having its intended strokes completed between the TDC and BDC, because each time, okay, before even before completing its movement up to TDC or BDC, it has to, okay, move in the opposite direction. So that is basically causing the bolts to subjected to tensile force. Okay, why? Because see, this lower portion of this big end will be always connected to the crank pin, correct? And the upper part, upper half of the connecting rod along with the sham is going to have, okay, various types of forces. And various types of forces means the variation in the inertia force, which will cause the bolt, this element, okay, bolt number 1 and bolt number 2 to be subjected to tensile force. Okay, so now the inertia force which is induced in the connecting rod is given by this formula. See, this formula you have learned in 5th semester or in 4th semester in theory of machine subject, in kinematics of machine or in theory of machine, which shows that the inertia force which is induced because of the reciprocating masses is given by mr omega square r times cos theta plus cos 2 theta by n1. Okay, so the inertia force which is induced, is given by the product of mr, which is reciprocating mass. Okay, omega is angular velocity, r is the crank radius, okay, theta is the angle of inclination of the crank or crank inclination with respect to TDC, and n1 here is taken as the ratio of L by R. This is basically the ratio of length of connecting rod to crank radius. Okay, now one point I would like to touch. In case the crank radius is not given in specification, you can assume that the crank radius is half of the length of the stroke. The crank radius is taken as, in short, the length of connecting rod is twice the crank radius, or it is nothing but the diameter, because the crank has to rotate okay. So suppose this is the crank radius, if this is the crank radius r, so from this position, like say suppose for example this is TDC and this is suppose BDC, so when the piston is completing its stroke from TDC to BDC, so it is covering how much distance? 1r plus 2r. That is why you are taking L is equal to 2r. Correct, na? Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay, very good. So now what we need to do is we need to determine the length. Ek minute, huh? Now what we need to do is we need to determine the inertia force by using this formula. In that, we need to find out first of all what are the masses of the reciprocating component. So the mass of the reciprocating component Mr is equal to mass of the piston assembly. When I'm saying mass of the piston assembly, it means it includes the mass of the piston itself plus piston pin plus piston rings. Okay, so the mass of the reciprocating component is equal to mass of the piston assembly plus 1/3 mass of the connecting rod, because I told you that in case of connecting rod and this small end and this big end, see big end is completely going to rotate, whereas the small end up to certain length, okay, which is almost taken as L by √3 times, is basically reciprocate, whereas the intermediate portion is basically oscillate in the elliptical pattern. That is why it is taken as 1/3 mass of the connecting rod. So the total mass of the connecting rod becomes mass of piston assembly plus 1/3 mass of connecting rod. Done. This way, I am able to find out the inertia force. But mind you, the maximum
सर एक बार फिर से
force.
बताइए ना वो एम वाला सर एक बार फिर से बताइए ना एम
Who is
वाला
this? Who is this? ये gentleman कौन है?
सर अहमद
अच्छा. Okay. See, this is the small end. This is the big end. See, we know that this end always reciprocates, whereas this rotates in the circular motion. Okay, so when I'm considering the mass of the reciprocating part, I take a whole mass of the piston assembly plus 1/3. Why? Because ये जो portion है piston के साथ reciprocate तो करता, तो यहाँ पर there will be some mass of the connecting rod which will be reciprocating along with the piston. Okay, after some point, some intermediate motion will be elliptical. So this length, okay, it can be assumed as 1/3. Okay, so sorry, L by √3 times. Okay, so that is why we take 1/3 mass of the connecting rod rather than taking the whole mass as a reciprocating mass, because मैंने आपको अभी बताया कि यहाँ पर ये वाला जो पोर्शन है वो रोटेट होते रहता है, ये वाला पोर्शन रेसिप्रोकेट होता है और ये बीच वाला एलिप्टिकल पोर्शन मोशन में होता है इसका. Okay, so which is not complete reciprocating or rotary motion. That is why only this much portion of the reciprocating mass is considered.
सर आपने वो टीडीसी टू बीडीसी में जो फोर्सेस लगते हैं उसके बारे में यही बताया ना कि जो जब वो डीडीसी से टीडीसी पे जाता है तब उसको डाउनवर्ड फोर्स लगता है, मतलब जब वो अप जा रहा है तब उसको डाउनवर्ड फोर्स लग रहा है और जब वो डाउनवर्ड आ रहा है तब उसको अपवर्ड फोर्स लग रहा है. राइट ना? राइट ना?
राइट.
ओके.
समझ में आ रहा है? Are you understanding this?
यस सर.
यस सर.
Okay, now the maximum inertia force is produced when the piston, the maximum inertia force will be maximum when the piston is about to reach TDC, and at TDC the angle is considered as 0, the crank angle is considered as 0. Therefore, in the previous formula, in this formula, when you substitute cos of 0 and cos of 2 theta, then you are going to get this equation modified to this form. So inertia force will be maximum, okay, when the piston when the piston is at TDC. So the form of the equation will change, and it will be simplified. It will be modified to mr omega square r times 1 plus 1 upon n1. This way, when you substitute all the parameters, you are able to find out the maximum inertia force, Pi. Okay, now there are two bolts. When you have to design these bolts, okay, see, these bolts will be subjected to tensile force. That is why I'm using Pmax is equal to, because this total inertia force will be shared by two number of bolts. So 2 into pi by 4 dc square times sigma t, where sigma t is the tensile stress. Okay, allowable tensile stress. Therefore, from this formula, you will be able to calculate dc ka value, the core diameter, and you will be able to find out the nominal diameter as dc by 0.84. And this way, you will be able to design the bolt for big end. Okay. Is it all right? Hello.
सर वो बोल्ट पे टेंसाइल फोर्स कैसे आया? मुझे लग रहा है कि कंप्रेसिव
Yes, good question. Vedant, I'm explaining here. See, this is the bearing cap. This is the lower part, lower half of the big end, correct? And bolt is already in the threaded hole. When the piston is moving up from BDC to TDC, it will also try to move. But suddenly what happened? The piston is basically being pushed. Okay, so that means when this force was written, it will be subject to, see, what you mean to say, the compressive force will basically getting in one direction, and when it is going to go in that particular direction, the inertia force will go opposite to that. Okay, so the force on the piston when going push, okay, the inertia force will be like a pull force. Okay, because inertia force will always try to maintain its state, but because of the external forces, it is being forced to change its direction. So when the external force is in the form of push force, okay, you are going to have the inertia force induced as a tensile force, and Hello.
Sir, not clearly understood.
So actual design of this will be subjected to fluctuating stresses or the endurance strength. But when we consider the static loading, okay, it can be designed either for tensile or for the compression. Okay.
सर
Yes,
ये
sir.
रेसिप्रोकेटिंग और सर्कुलर मोशन का भी कुछ इफेक्ट होता है क्या फिर बॉल पे? एक साथ
Sorry?
दोनों कॉम्बिनेशन रहेगा ना?
I'm
तो जो पिस्टन रॉड है उसका उस पे दो इफेक्ट होता है ना, एक रोटेशन वाला, तो उसके वजह से भी होता है क्या?
no, I'm not getting you clear. ये आवाज बहुत disturbance है. I'm not getting you. हेलो.
हाँ हेलो सर, नेटवर्क इशू रहता है इसलिए सर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि पिस्टन रॉड रेसिप्रोकेट होता है और लोअर एंड जो क्रैंक में वो रोटेशन होता है, तो वो दोनों के कॉम्बिनेशन का भी कुछ इफेक्ट होता है क्या बॉल पे एज एन टेंसाइल स्ट्रेस?
Yes. Absolutely. And that we are going to discuss at the end. That is called as whipping stress. मैं भी वो explain करने वाला हूँ मैं.
ओके थैंक यू सर.
That is called as whipping stress. आपको Vedant, is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was talking about the वही बोल रहा था कि ये टेंशन भी हो रहा है, कंप्रेशन भी हो रहा है, तो आपने टेंशन भी लिया था. अभी now it is clear that
See,
you are taking
either sigma t have to be used or the compressive stress have to be taken. Either you take sigma t or sigma c. इसका ये एक्चुअल डिजाइन कंसिडरेशन नहीं है. इसका एक्चुअल डिजाइन कंसिडरेशन हमको एंड्योरेंस डिस्टेंस इसका निकालना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज आउट ऑफ द 4 strokes 2 strokes are subjected to sigma c and 2 are subjected to sigma t. So the actual design of this board will be based on the design of endurance strength for this board. But what we are doing, just ignoring the fluctuating wala part, we are designing it either for the sigma t or for sigma c.
Okay, so sir, compression or tension.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Mind you, sigma t and sigma. हाँ.
सर कौन से सिनारियो में कंप्रेशन लोड आएगा?
अरे भाई ऊपर से पिस्टन का जो पावर जो जा रहा है, when the power is being produced, okay, the compression force will be acting ना. यहाँ से पिस्टन से compression आ रहा है और जो बेरिंग पिन का compression.
हाँ सर, बट जब ऊपर से फोर्स आएगा तो जो बेरिंग फोर्स सिर्फ अपर हाफ पार्ट पे ही एक्ट करेगा ना, कनेक्टिंग रॉड के.
हेलो.
यस सर.
हेलो.
यस सर.
Not getting.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Okay, so so what we did. Okay, someone was asking some question.
हाँ सर मैं पूछ रहा हूँ
Who is this?
अली अकबर सर
Ali Akbar. Please ask.
सर जब पावर स्ट्रोक में फोर्स
हम्म।
पिस्टन से कनेक्टिंग रॉड से होते हुए क्रैंक पिन पे जाता है तो जो बेयरिंग स्ट्रेस होगा वो सिर्फ अपर पार्ट ऑफ द कनेक्टिंग रॉड पे ही एक्ट करेगा ना सर, तो वो सीन में बोल्ट्स पे कंप्रेशन लोड कैसे आएगा?
इसमें बोल्ट में
हाँ
see what I mean to say, when the piston is moving down, okay, because of the downward motion, the piston ka force is here, and through the pin it is going to be acting like this, okay, on the connecting rod, okay, but because of the tightening as well as the upward movement, okay, yes, of course it has to be sigma T.
ओके सर
Then okay, last part of this discussion is based on the design of the big end cap. The length between the two bolts is L, and the thickness of this portion or the big end cap is TC. So what I mean to say here is, if you draw the isometric view, okay, so this is basically the thickness TC. So this is going to be the thickness TC. So what we do, when we know that the load here is Pi max, which is the inertia force, and there are two bolts, one here, another here, and whatever is the total load acting, they will be carrying half of it at each bolt. Okay, so what we do, we consider this as a simply supported beam with Pi max is the load acting at the center, whereas Pi by 2 are the reactions at the two bolts. When we plot the bending moment diagram, the bending moment would be maximum somewhere of this nature. But what happened that this particular portion is like when contacting with the whole pin. That is why this portion of the beam of this particular portion can be considered as a UDL, whereas this portion, this point is basically their point load, okay, in the form of the reaction. That is why instead of considering this maximum moment as WL by 4, because this case what we are discussing is a combination of, it is a combination of point load and UDL. That is why from the data book we consider this as L by 6 as the maximum moment, because for point load it is WL by 4 and for UDL it is WL square by 8, or rather it is WL by 8. Okay, because W is equal to small w into L. Correct. So because this case what we are discussing, the bearing end cap in the intermediate portion from this point to this point where the pin is accommodated, you can consider this as a UDL because pin is uniformly contacting, whereas these 2 points are considered as a point load. That is why this case is basically a combination of point load and UDL. So that is why instead of considering either WL by 4 or WL by 8, we consider this as WL by 6. So from this consideration, I take the moment equation, the maximum moment as WL by 6, where maximum load is nothing but Pi max. Therefore, I have WL by 6 replaced as Pi max times L divided by 6, where divided by 6, where L is the length between the two bolts. Okay. Now one important point is the force which is acting here is going to cause the rotation of this moment about a dimension, like for example, if you consider the moment of this force about this axis, this axis is cutting the dimension PC. Okay, that means when I cut it, it will look something like this. It will look so in this case, because the axis is passing through the dimension TC and this length is taken as the length of crank pin LC, which we have already found in the previous discussion. So we can determine moment of inertia I as BD cube by 12, because the dimension D is nothing but T. Therefore, LC times TC cube by 12. And when we find the stress about this particular plane, the stress is going to vary. The bending stress is going to vary something like this, where Y would be TC by 2. Therefore, I am substituting Y as TC by 2. The bending moment is calculated as BC into TC, that is BD cube by 12. I emphasize on this term as to how this cube is taken, because when the moment is considered, see the axis which is cutting the dimension is this. Okay, and the moment, the clockwise or the counterclockwise moment is taken about this axis which is cutting the dimension PC. That is why you have this formula for moment of inertia. So you can determine the dimension PC from this equation. So sigma is equal to sigma or bending stress is equal to M by I times Y. Substitute everything and you are going to get the TC ka value from this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any confusion, please ask. Okay. Last portion of this topic. Gripping stress. See, in order to make you understand, I have shown you two figures. See, the piston is moving in this direction. The connecting rod is going to, the crankshaft is going to rotate in the in the complete rotation. But if I consider one of the points, such as this point, see here, if I consider any point in the connecting rod, the path traced out by this point would be elliptical. This path which is traced out by this point would be elliptical. Because of this elliptical path, this will result into lateral oscillation. Lateral oscillation. Okay. Once again, I'm emphasizing that the connecting rod is always reciprocating like this. The connecting this crankshaft is going to rotate always, but somewhere intermediate portion of the connecting rod, when considered and when the path, the motion of this particular point is considered, then it is going to be elliptical. That means it is going to oscillate, and which will result into lateral motion of the connecting rod. Because of the lateral motion, lateral forces will be induced, and these lateral forces will induce a bending which is called as whipping stress. Because of the lateral motion of the connecting rod in a direction perpendicular to the motion of connecting rod, in a direction perpendicular to the motion of piston, the lateral forces will be induced, and the lateral force is going to cause bending. This bending is going to induce a stress that is called as whipping stress.
Bending about y axis.
Yes. Lateral का मतलब ही वो होता है, हम लोग ने सॉम में पढ़ा था longitudinal stress and lateral, sorry, longitudinal strain and lateral strain. So lateral strain will be always in a direction perpendicular to it. Okay, so the lateral
Yes, sir.
oscillation will induce a force that will cause the bending, and the bending will have bending stress. That bending stress which is induced because of the lateral force is called as whipping stress.
सर मतलब बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस को ही whipping स्ट्रेस बोला गया है क्या?
Yes, but the reason is intermediate portion, ये जो connecting rod का ये जो intermediate portion है यहाँ से यहाँ तक, okay, इसका plane elliptical plane में होता है, जिसकी वजह से ये lateral direction में oscillate करता है, okay, जिसकी वजह से slapping, जिसको भी तुमने term सुना होगा, slap of the piston, slapping भी होता है, उसकी वजह से piston में ovality भी होती है अपना cylinder liner में, okay, and it is because of this motion. So the lateral force which is induced because of the oscillation, lateral oscillation, is called as whipping stress. Okay, all right.
Yes sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
we will stop here today, and tomorrow we will go ahead with the problem solving. Time देखो कितना हो रहा है अभी? 1 बज गया ना? Anyway, this is the concept of whipping stress, and tomorrow we will learn how to calculate the whipping stress. Okay. But today we will just stop here.